Good morning, Greg here, burning at both ends, burning on the front end of May 30th. It's Wednesday, 2018, 6:30 a.m. Pacific. Got my trusty keto coffee here. Love this keto coffee, and I'm really enjoying setting it all up the night before, so that way I can just wake up and I just get right into making it. It's just, I don't know, I just find so much satisfaction in that, in that process. And I've learned that I need to put 10 things out to make my coffee. So it's a really cool kind of evening thing when I'm kind of tired and I'm just going through the motions and I just need to count 10 things. And I'm enjoying this little process that I've set up for myself so I can get into execution in the morning. It really, I don't know, it really just charges me up on the front end of the day. And I just love the keto coffee anyway. So, well, let's get into today's post. So today's post is about I guess like an experiment I've been doing, right? So I've had these aerospace startups. I've done the consultancy route. I've done the hourly rate thing. I've done the results-based payment thing. And so I wanted to try something new. I heard an interview with Tim Ferriss. I forget which one it was, but he said, just try something completely opposite of what you normally would do and just see if that works, right? And his example was he was calling people, excuse me, and instead of calling from 9 to 5, he decided to call outside that window. So if he called from like 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. and from like 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. or something like that. And he found that he got much better luck with trying that because the gatekeepers weren't there and the real diehard folks were there and they would love to talk and things like that. And so I decided to try doing pro bono work for startups, offering my services for free and see what happens. And I have to say I am really enjoying the result of doing this free work. And so when I tell someone that I do, pro bono startup work, whether it's a startup or, just like one of my buddies or maybe like a mentor-like person, I often get an odd reply, something like, people don't value what they don't pay for, is what's, something like that is spoken. And so, but this whole thing is based on this Gary Vaynerchuk kind of offer incredible value up front to find like these long-term customers. So of course, the pro bono work can't last forever. It doesn't make sense. But on the front end, it does make a lot of sense to begin an engagement. Because what I'm finding is that with this pro bono piece that I'm working with, the conversation gets much more exciting very quickly than starting with, oh, I'm a consultant, this is my hourly rate. So let's get into pro bono versus hourly rate. So pro bono, what I'm seeing, and I've tested this with maybe like 5 or 6 startups so far. So not a huge data set, but I think enough to understand if it's got traction. Pro bono, everyone likes free, right? This is the whole game-changing aspect of the internet. So this book that I read, where's my book here? Not my book, but the book. This is a great book. If you were around, in the 90s and 2000, I mean, I'm not that old, but I do remember the late 90s. I was in college, and then of course the 2000s. That's when I began my professional career. But this venture capitalist book is awesome because it talks about that time and how the internet changed things. And this concept of offering things for free was revolutionary, and you can clearly see that has stuck. And so here now it's 2018, almost 20 years later. And it's still, a lot of things are free. I mean, look at Google. So people love free. And I also find that we go right to talking about their biggest problems, right? So I go, I do pro bono work for startups. What are you working on? And then they got right into the meat and potatoes, right into like the either the hardest thing that they're working on or the most important thing they're working on. And also I find that with this, we can start working together and we don't need agreements on anything. We don't need to sign any agreements because this first piece is not going to require an NDA. It's going to be high level enough. I'm going to engage with the business. I'm going to engage with the founders. So, and then also, I get to see like what kind of tools they have, which is kind of cool. What kind of platforms they use. Okay, so now as opposed to hourly. So typically when I offer an hourly rate, the focus is on the rate. And, I have this little piece. My opinion is that hourly rates create an adversarial relationship between client and customer, or customer and client, right? The customer wants the client or the consultant. Let's do that. Customer and consultant. The customer wants the consultant to bill as few hours as possible, have as lower hourly rate as possible, but deliver the most value. The consultant wants to have as high an hourly rate as possible, bill as many hours as possible, but still deliver solid value. But where's the motivation for the consultant to become more efficient with their work? And the consultant's also, for job security reasons, is looking for more work all the time. And the customer, depending on their cash flow, might literally be looking to cut work on a regular basis. It kind of depends. But I just consider this to be adversarial, even though the good intention is there. It's just the result is kind of opposed to what you want. But the reason why hourly rates are there is because it's easy to begin an engagement, right? The customer does not have to think through a statement of work or a scope of work very carefully with hard deliverables, right? You can just begin billing time on the project. And so as a consultant, I'm easy to hire and fire in that same regard. So there is there is a good reason why that exists. The other thing that the startups say if I lead with an hourly rate is, well, they focus on my degree and they go, I don't have any work right now for a mechanical engineer. And then I'm backpedaling, trying to explain why I have all this business experience and this is why you should fold me in and blah, blah, blah. But typically the hourly rate, they focus on the degree. And then this is when I hear a lot, we're a startup, we don't have any money, right? We're in this accelerator, we only have our grant money for our team, we can't really spend it on outside things. Plus we really don't know what to give you. We don't have work for a mechanical engineer. So you can just see that a whole bunch of objections start coming up with the hourly rate. So the other cool thing about the pro bono is typically I'll get invited into the team pretty much right away. So I get a front row seat to see about the startup's leadership and the team, and I get to see how they show up. So how do they handle a free team member? Do they use my time effectively and efficiently? Do they use their own time effectively and efficiently? I kind of get a peek behind the curtain of the startup. And the cool thing is that I've had a good amount of leadership training and team building training and all these things, and so I get to test my intuition on team and leadership. So something happens and I go, oh, that's interesting. A little red flag goes up, and then my mind goes, makes an opinion about it. And then I get to just kind of sit and chill out and see if that opinion is right over time, right? Because I don't have to, there's no stake in me to point it out right then and there. Because first of all, I could be wrong. Second of all, this is not my place. I'm doing free work for them, so I'm just going to do the work that I've been given and try to support the team as best as possible. But I do get to kind of sharpen my sword on and hone my skills about leadership and team understanding and knowledge in this mode. So I think it's pretty cool. I also get to challenge myself. How can I work more effectively and more efficiently? Right? I am going to be really cautious about using my time if I'm working for free. And so I'm really going to push myself to work really efficiently and effectively. And then also, I'm going to deliver systems and processes to my customer as opposed to the answer, right? So for example, I was doing some market research for one of my customers, and this customer wanted to know a certain size of a certain market from a certain company, blah blah blah. So essentially there was a specific thing that they were looking for, and instead of finding that, because I learned that I would have to have as much in-depth knowledge about their business and about the technology to find this information, and it didn't make sense for me to learn all that just to find it. So instead, what I did was I found the method that they could use to dig up the information and find it. I found the tools, I found the process to go through, and it turned out that this was a free resource that we had access to. It was just a matter of where is it, how do I get it, and then there were a few little tips and tricks I had to uncover to actually say, okay, here's a little system. And then the cool thing is then I set up meetings and we went and I got, I arranged for the support person to come help us. And I showed my customer, this is how you set up this meeting, this is the people that can help, this is the place you go, this is what you bring with you, so that way you can walk away with the resource, but it's all free and it's all right here. And this was a tremendous delivery, right? So this was, the old teach a man to fish, kind of a thing. And I find that offers so much more value than if I would have said, oh, here, the market is $8 million, and this company does 5%, and next year they're projected to do 6.5%. I mean, that might have been the answer. That might have been close to the answer, but now they have the system and the process at their fingertips, and they can go and now execute on that. And they can, because when you're doing market research, I mean, the questions are essentially infinite, right? There's not one question you ask. Oh, now I know. Now I can make my product. It doesn't work that way. And then the other cool thing about that is then the delivery of that system and process is I love the G Suite as a Google Doc, and so I just create a simple one pager, and then I just detail the process in an outline. I make it like a complete document, so it's got a title, it's got obviously a date, it's got its own complete thing, and now I have something of value. And actually, I took that thing, and I was able to give it to a bunch of other people that I knew were interested in this resource, and so I'm able to very easily, and it was a lot of fun, by the way, uncovering this resource and finding out the tips and tricks too. And it was a test of patience, definitely, and persistence, but it was definitely worth it. And now I understand a lot about that resource, and I can use it for my benefit. I can help other people, find it and use it. And so that's kind of where I'm at, is I deliver systems and processes as opposed to the answer, and it's just so much more value. And so what's the result here? The result, I'm definitely getting good results. I've approached several startups. Maybe we're up to 6 or so by now. I got work from 3, and what I'm finding is that I am working with really good people, right? The people, because it's the people that recognize that, kind of don't just take that superficial cut about, oh, here's this mechanical engineer, you work, why would you want to help a startup? People have to kind of go a little bit deeper and go, oh, so tell me about your background. Tell me about where you came from. Oh, interesting. Okay, so there's more here than just a degreed engineer. It takes patience and, and persistence on their side. And I know that those are 2 very good characteristics. And so the good people see it. The people that I probably don't want to work with don't see it. I've had startups that have agreed to it on the front end, but then when I kind of circle back, like let's say I meet them at an event and we talk about, oh, I do this thing, and they go, oh, that'd be great. Here's my card. I definitely have some work. Let's set up a meeting. I mean, some just kind of get a little bit scared to even set up a meeting. And so that lets me see, it's like, wow, I mean, maybe you guys really aren't ready. You guys are in a very delicate place in your startup, and you wouldn't know how to take advantage of a free resource, or you've got a lot to figure out already, and adding a team member doesn't make sense, right? I mean, so all these things come up, and so I find that the really strong leaders, the really good teams, are able to fold me in very quickly and very easily, and understand how to work with me, because I'm not going to be showing up at the office. This is going to be a virtual connection. So how does the leader or the team handle a virtual connection? And that I think in this day and age, I had a whole piece on collaboration. Being able to handle a virtual team member is critical. Keep them engaged, keep them connected, keep them understanding priorities. I mean, that is definitely a challenge, but it's something that we need to do, because collaborations are just the key to success in this modern business, business age. Just with all the broadband and all the tools we have, I mean, it's almost silly to keep things inside the company completely. So that's my post, my pro bono startup work. So I'm really enjoying that. I'm meeting lots of people. I'm learning about lots of complex problems, and meeting a lot of powerful team members, a lot of powerful leaders, and I just think it's awesome. And so, excuse me. And so that's today's post. Subscribe if you like what you hear. This is all about kind of the tips and tricks and things I'm doing in my life as an aspiring entrepreneur to get ahead. So I'm putting these things into practice. So subscribe, comment down below, tell me about your journey, tell me about your challenges. I'd love to help however I could. And I've linked some motivational videos down below, so check those out. Those really got me on my path I'm currently on this year. Huge shout out to Gary Vaynerchuk. He's posted now, I'm not sure how fresh it is, but he's posted his keynote at VoiceCon on his SoundCloud. So I would definitely check it out. It's really interesting to hear what he has to say about voice, and I'm psyched. I'm really digging the ENSE platform. ENSE, check it out, download it, get engaged socially with voice. It's really cool. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, if you like the beats in the background, check out G Money. That's my alter ego. I write these beats. I've been drumming for a couple decades. You can listen to them for free on SoundCloud. I've also linked some psychedelic ambient music. This guy's got a tremendous amount of DJ sets on his website. Check that out if you like that kind of music. I've also linked a DJ I'm getting into now, DJ Tasha Blank. Just love her tribal beats. So there's a great DJ set from her down there. And she's got a ton of material on SoundCloud, so I would definitely check it out. So that's today's post, Pro Bono Startup Work. Hope you all have a great day. Go out, inspire someone, do something great, and I'll see you later.